The research ship Eternal Seeker moved quietly through the Orion Spur, its crystal-crafted hull scattering starlight into dazzling refractions. Director Vanna Texi stood steady at her observation deck, all 6 eyes narrowed on the strange data. Her scanners had picked up from a nearby solar cluster. Her kind, the Meridians, had spent eons peacefully exploring the stars, documenting alien life and exchanging wisdom across the cosmos. Director, we've found synthetic constructs orbiting the system's 3rd planet, reported Navigator Kin, his glowing bio-patches flickering with anticipation. These energy readings don't match any known interstellar cultures in our archives. Vanna's antennae twitched in intrigue. After ages of travel, the discovery of a new star-faring species was uncommon. "Take us in, but keep the cloaking intact," she ordered. "Let's observe before we initiate contact." The Eternal Seeker eased forward, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it virtually invisible to conventional sensors as they approached the ship's quantum imaging systems, revealed a complex network of orbital stations, defense platforms, and vessels of various sizes. Fascinating. Vanna whispered they've achieved space flight without following the standard progression path. Look at those ship designs, no crystalline matrices, no psychic resonance. Chambers, how do they even navigate? Her question was answered moments later, when their sensors detected a massive surge of electromagnetic energy. Space itself seemed to ripple as a vessel emerged from what appeared to be a crude but effective faster-than-light drive. Director Science Officer Mi's voice carried an unfamiliar note of alarm. The vessel it's covered in, weapon imp placements, energy readings, suggest enough firepower to what officer mayor to destroy a small moon. Director Van's primary heart skipped a beat. In all her centuries of exploration, she'd never encountered a species that built warships. Of such magnitude, the Meridian Collective had outgrown the need for weapons millennia ago, as had most advanced civilizations. They'd encountered the human vessel's design was unlike anything in their database, where Meridian ships were organic curves and flowing lines. This craft was angular, purposeful, and bristling with weapon ports, it to bore scars and repairs, telling tales of battles fought and survived. "They've detected us," Kin announced, his bioluminescence shifting to warning colors. "Our stealth field. They're using some kind of quantum resonance scan technology we've never seen before. Vanna could respond their communication. System activated. A strong, clear voice spoke in perfect galactic standard, thanks to their universal translators. Unidentified vessel. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force vessel. Resolute, you are in restricted space. Drop your cloak immediately, or we will consider your presence an act of aggression." Vanna felt her species' trademark calm beginning to slip. How can they speak galactic standard? They shouldn't even know it exists. Director Mayer's voice shook slightly. "I'm detecting multiple smaller craft launching from the Resolute, their energy signatures, their weapon platforms of some kind. Open a channel," Vanna ordered, straightening her robes. "This is Director Vanna Texi of the Meridian research vessel, Eternal Seeker. We come in peace, seeking only to study and learn." There was a pause before Captain Chen responded. "Director Texi, your vessel's cloaked approach to a restricted system could be interpreted as hostile reconnaissance. Drop your stealth field and prepare for inspection. Van's antenna curled in confusion. "Captain, we are a Meridian vessel. We represent one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. We don't submit to inspections. Your age and status are irrelevant in human space. Director, you have 30 seconds to comply before we disable your vessel." The threat shocked Vanna to her core. No species had dared threaten a Meridian ship in over 10,000 years. "Surely we can discuss this reasonably. We have much knowledge to share." 20 seconds, Director. May interrupted. "Their targeting systems are unlike anything we've encountered. They're not using standard energy locks. They've developed some kind of predictive targeting algorithm. That 10 seconds Vanna made her decision lower the stealth field, open all frequencies. She took a deep breath. Captain Chen, we will comply with your inspection, but I must protest this treatment of a peaceful research vessel. The human captain's response was professional, but carried an edge of steel. Your protest is noted, Director. However, humanity has learned through hard experience that appearances can be deceiving. Hold position and prepare to be boarded as the inspection teams approached in their heavily armored shuttles. Vanna couldn't help but wonder what kind of experiences had shaped the species. What had they encountered, or what had they done to each other that made them so formidable, so paranoid, yet so advanced? She was about to find out that humanity's path to the stars had been very different from anything the Meridians had ever imagined. The human inspection team moved through the Eternal Seeker with methodical precision. Their armored suits made them look like walking tanks. To Van's eyes, each movement calculated and purposeful. The team leader, Lieutenant Maria Santos, kept one hand near her weapon while scanning every corner with sophisticated sensors built into her helmet. Your ship design is unusual, Santos commented, her voice slightly distorted through her suit stickers. No internal compartmentalization, no emergency bulkheads, no point defense systems. How do you survive combat? Combat. Van's Annan twitched in confusion. The Eternal Seeker is a research vessel. We haven't needed combat capabilities in thousands of years. Santos paused, her helmet's visor becoming transparent, to reveal a face that mixed disbelief with concern. No offense, Director, but that seems incredibly naive. The galaxy is exactly a safe place. The Meridian Collective has achieved perfect harmony through intellectual and spiritual advancement. Van explained proudly. We have no need for weapons, ma'am. One of Santos's team called out, you need to see. These sensor readings, they power core, it's completely exposed. One hit would chain react through the whole ship. Santos shook her head. Director, your technology is incredible, but your ship is a disaster waiting to happen. Even civilian vessels in human space have basic defensive capabilities before Vanana could respond. The ship's communication system activated. Lieutenant Santos returned to the Resolute immediately. Captain Chen's voice carried unmistakable tension. We have multiple contacts approaching. At FTL speeds, the human team move with startling speed. Their previous methodical inspection forgotten as they rushed back to their shuttle. Vanna followed them to the docking bay, her scientific curiosity overriding her anxiety. What's happening? She asked. Pirates. Santos replied grimly. The Orion Syndicate, they prey on isolated ships, especially ones with valuable technology like yours. Van's primary heart nearly stopped pirates, but the collective eliminated piracy millennia ago. Maybe in your face, Santa said as she boarded her shuttle. But out here, the strong survive by being stronger than those who would prey on them through the Eternal Seeker's quantum imaging system. Vanana watched as 5 ships dropped out of FTL. They were ugly, brutal things, cobbled together from stolen technology and decorated with weapons of various origins. Their design philosophy seemed to be quantity over quality. Dozens of weapon emplacements covered their hull's. Attention, unknown vessels, Captain Chen's voice broadcast. On all frequencies, you are entering restricted space. Withdraw. Immediately, the pirates' response came in the form of weapons fire. A barrage of energy beams and projectiles that lit up space like a newborn star van expected to see the Resolute attempt to flee or negotiate. Instead, what happened next changed her understanding of warfare forever. The human warship moved like a predator, its engines firing in patterns that seemed random but allowed it to dodge the majority of incoming fire. What hits it did take were absorbed by layered defensive systems that made the Meridian stealth technology look primitive by comparison. Fascinating, Science Officer May whispered, watching the battle unfold. Their ship's design. It's not just about weapons. Look at how they're using gravitational waves to predict projectile paths, how their point defense systems create overlapping fields of protection. The Resolute's counterattack was surgical and devastating. Instead of attempting to disable or capture the Pirate vessels, it systematically destroyed their weapon, emplacements, and engines. Each shot seemed precisely calculated to cause maximum damage with minimum energy expenditure. Director May called out, his bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. "I'm detecting something remarkable, the humans. They're not just fighting, they're gathering data. Each attack is slightly different, testing the pirates' defenses, learning their capabilities." Vanna watched in astonishment as the Resolute executed a maneuver. That should have been impossible for a ship its size. It dove between two pirate vessels using their own crossfire against each other, while its weapons picked apart their defenses. They're not just warriors, serialized, they're sun scientists. They've turned warfare into a form of research. Within minutes, the battle was over. 4 pirate ships floated dead in space, their crews evacuated to escape pods. The 5th had fled back into FTL, likely to warn others about the cost of attacking human-protected space. Captain Chin's voice came through again, this time directed at the Eternal Seeker Director Texi. "I trust you understand now why we take security so seriously. L, your ship will remain under our protection until we can escort you to the nearest Meridian outpost." As Vanna watched the human crew efficiently process the captured pirates and secure the area, she began to understand. Humanity hadn't developed its military might out of aggression, but out of necessity. They had turned their drive to survive into an art form, combining scientific methodology with martial prowess in ways the Meridians had never imagined. Perhaps she said to no one, "In particular, we have as much to learn from them as they do from us." The aftermath of the pirate attack left an uneasy quiet in its wake. The Eternal Seeker's crew watched in fascination as human damage control teams efficiently processed the battlefield debris, their movements suggesting long practice at such tasks. But the peace wouldn't last long. Multiple quantum distortions detected. Mayer's voice carried an edge of panic that Vea had never heard before. "These readings, they're unlike anything in our database." Captain Chin's voice cut through their comm system. "We're picking it up to Director Texi R. You seeing this before?" Vanna could respond. Space itself seemed to tear open through the breach. Emerged a sight that made both human and Meridian crews freeze in horror. The vessel was massive, easily dwarfing both their ships combined, its hull composed of what appeared to be living metal that and shifted like liquid mercury by the first light van. Anna whispered, "The Devars, they're supposed to be a myth. Care to share with the class director?" Chen's voice was tense but controlled. They're an ancient species. Captain stories tell of them consuming entire civilizations, breaking down all technology and organic matter to fuel their expansion, but they were supposed to have vanished. UNSAGA, the massive vessel, began emitting waves of energy that made both ship sensors scream and protest. The Resolute's engines flared to life, but the human ship didn't retreat. "All hands battle stations," Chen ordered, her voice broadcasting to both vessels. "Director Texi, your ship's in no condition to fight. Get out of here, we'll hold them off." Vanna felt an unfamiliar motion. Shame. "We can't just leave you. This isn't a debate, Director. Your ship has no defenses, and we're not losing the most significant first contact in human history because you want to be noble." Besides, Chen's voice carried a hint of grim humor. "We've been preparing for something like this since we first reached the stars." The door ship launched what appeared to be clouds of metallic particles where they touched debris from the pirate battle. The metal began to break down and reform into smaller attack craft. Nanite weapons, Mayer reported, his bioluminescence now pulsing with rapid patterns of fear and fascination. "They're converting matter into combat units." The Resolute's response was immediate and unexpected. Instead of opening fire with conventional weapons, the human ship released swarms of its own microscopic machines. "Anti-eye countermeasures," Lieutenant Santos explained over the sea. "We developed them after discovering von Neumann probes in the Kyer belt. Never thought we'd need them this soon." Vanna watched in amazement as the human countermeasures engaged Thederites, where the two swarms met. Tiny flashes of light marked microscopic battles being fought on a massive scale. Director Mayer called out, "I think understand their weakness. The door technology relies on perfect order. Their knights work in predictable mathematical patterns, but the human countermeasures, they're deliberately chaotic." Chen's voice came through. "Again, Director, your science officers onto something. We're reading massive energy fluctuations in their main vessel when their patterns are disrupted, but we don't have enough processing power to analyze and exploit it fully." Van, as antennae straightened, as inspiration struck, "But we do. The Eternal Seeker's quantum computers, they're designed to model complex astronomical phenomena. We could use them to analyze the Dior patterns and predict their adaptations. A joint operation." Chin sounded intrigued. "Your brains, our Brognes Mayer, reconfigure our primary research arrays, Captain Chen. If you can keep their attention focused on your ship way ahead of you, Director Lieutenant Santos, prep boarding teams if their patterns are of their weakness. Let's give them some chaos." To choke on what followed was unlike anything in either species' military history. The Resolute engaged in a complex dance with the Devor vessel, its weapons and countermeasure swarms keeping the enemy's attention while deliberately introducing random variables into each engagement. Meanwhile, the Eternal Seeker's massive quantum computers process the battle data in real time, identifying pattern weaknesses that the humans could exploit. "Their adaptation algorithms are failing," Mayer reported. Excitedly, "they can't compensate for the randomness fast enough through their shared tactical display." Vanna watched human boarding teams breach the Devourer vessel, unlike the methodical movement she'd witnessed before. Now they move with controlled chaos, never establishing patterns that the enemy could predict and counter. "This is incredible." Santos broadcast from inside the enemy ship. "Their internal structure keeps trying to adapt to our presence, but can't establish stable configurations. We're literally making them malfunction by being unpredictable." The Dior vessel surface began to ripple erratically as its nanite-based structure lost coherence. The humans had turned their greatest strength, their inherent unpredictability, into a weapon against an enemy that relied on perfect order. Director Chen called out, "We're detecting a massive power surge in their core suggestions." Van's mind raced. "Their quantum matrix is collapsing. If we don't contain it, it'll take both our ships out." Chen finished ideas. Actually, Vanna felt her antenna curl in what humans would later learn was their equivalent of a smile. "I think it's time we showed you what a Meridian research vessel can really do." The Eternal Seeker crystalline hull began to pulse. With colors no human eye had ever seen, Van's crew worked with practiced efficiency, redirecting power from their supposedly peaceful research systems in ways that made Captain Chen's tactical display light up with confusion. "What exactly are you doing?" Director Chen asked. As she watched the Meridian vessel's energy reading spike to unprecedented levels. "Captain, did you wonder why we never developed weapons?" Vanna's voice carried an unusual note of excitement. "It's not because we wouldn't. It's because our understanding of energy manipulation made them obsolete." The Eternal Seeker's hull transformed into what appeared to be pure light, its crystalline structure now channeling enough power to rival a small star. The door vessel's surface rippled in response, its night structure attempting to adapt to this new phenomenon. "Our containment fields were designed to study black holes." Captain Vannon explained, "We can redirect their collapsing quantum matrix into a controlled singularity. But we need your help." "What do you need?" "Your chaos, your unpredictability. If your teams can destabilize their internal structure at precisely the right moment." Chen didn't hesitate. "Lieutenant Santos, you hear that already moving?" Captain Santos responded from inside. "The Devourer vessel teams are splitting up, creating random disruption patterns, but their internal defenses are adapting faster now because they're scared." May interjected, his bioluminescence pulsing with revelation. "Look at their energy patterns. They're showing signs of actual emotion. Fear is making them evolve." The Devor vessel surface began sprouting new formations, organic-looking weapons that targeted both ships with increasing accuracy. Their salutes' point defense systems flared continuously, barely keeping up with the assault whatever you're going to do. Chen called out, "Do it fast. We can't maintain this level of defense much longer." Vanny's antenna straightened with determination. "Captain, on my mark. I need your ship to execute the most random, unpredictable maneuver you can think of, something that defies all tactical logic. You want." Illogical Chen's voice carried a hint of amusement that's humanity's specialty. "Santos, prepare for emergency extraction, all hands, brace for victory maneuver. Omega victory maneuver." Omega, Vanna questioned, named after an ancient human entertainment called video games. "Trust me, no logical species would ever expect this." The Eternal Seeker's containment field reached full power just as the door vessel launched, its strongest attack yet. At that moment, several things happened simultaneously. The Resolute executed what appeared to be a complete systems failure, its engines cutting out as it tumbled, end over end toward the enemy ship, the Devores their tactical. Systems based on predicting logical responses focused all their attention on this apparent vulnerability. In that split second of distraction, the Eternal Seeker activated its containment field. A sphere of pure energy enveloped the Dior vessel, trapping its collapsing quantum matrix within a bubble of controlled spaso. Time Santos, now Chen ordered human boarding teams scattered throughout the door ship, activated devices that pulsed with electromagnetic chaos, disrupting the night structure at hundreds of points simultaneously. The enemy vessel's surface became a storm of conflicting patterns as its systems tried desperately to adapt. Containment field is holding, May reported, his voice tense with concentration. Their quantum matrix is collapsing in on itself. Wait, these readings. The door vessel's surface suddenly stabilized, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of fighting the chaos, it began to embrace it, its night structure flowing into new, unprecedented configurations. They evolving. Van Anna whispered in awe, "The combination of our containment field and human chaos isn't destroying them. It's forcing them to transcend their original programming." The massive ship's surface transformed. One final time, its liquid metal structure, crystallizing into something that resembled a hybrid of Meridian and human technology. Then slowly it began to power down. "All teams, report. Enemy systems are offline." Santos called out. No signs of resistance. It's like they just went to sleep as both crews watched in amazement. A new signal emanated from the transformed vessel. It wasn't the mathematical patterns of before, but something more organic. More alive. They were trapped, Mayer realized, studying the signal. Bound by their original programming to consume and expand, our intervention forced them to break free of those constraints. So instead of destroying them, Chin mused, we basically gave them an evolutionary kick in the pants. More than that. Vanna replied, we showed them a new way to exist. The Meridians ordered preservation of knowledge combined with humanity's embrace of chaos created something entirely new. As the dust settled and damage reports came in, both crews began to realize the full implications of what they'd achieved. Two fundamentally different approaches to civilization had not just cooperated, but synthesized, creating a solution neither could have conceived alone. Director Texi Chen's voice was thoughtful. I believe this is the beginning of a very interesting partnership. 3 months after the Devourer incident, the observation deck of humanity's first contact station hummed with activity. The massive space station, hastily constructed at the border of human and Meridian space, represented something unprecedented in both civilization histories, a true collaboration between order and chaos. Vanna Texi stood beside Captain Chin, watching through the station's quantum-enhanced viewing field as ships from both civilizations maneuvered in joint exercises. Meridian research vessels, their crystalline hulls now reinforced with human-designed defense systems, worked alongside modified human warships, equipped with Meridian sensors and computers. Your crews are adapting remarkably well to our technology, Van observed as a human vessel, executed a perfect quantum jump using meridian calculations, and, "Your scientists are getting surprisingly creative with our combat systems," Chen replied, nodding toward a meridian ship practicing evasive maneuvers that would have been impossible. 3 months ago, though, on still getting used to the sight of weapon ports. On your vessels, they're not weapons in the traditional sense. Van's antenna curled in amusement, we prefer to think of them as aggressive research tools. The transformation of the Warship had changed everything, the evil entity now calling itself. The synthesis had shared insights from its millions of years of existence before departing for deep space to contemplate its new form of consciousness. But its greatest gift had been showing both species how much stronger they could be together. Latest reports from the Joint Engineering Team Lieutenant Santos announced approaching with a datapad. Her armor now incorporated meridian crystalline technology, allowing for better sensor integration. The hybrid drive systems are exceeding all expectations. Meridian precision combined with human intuitive controls. It's revolutionary, speaking of revolution. Chen turned to Vanna. "How's the collective handling all these changes?" Vanna's bioluminescent patches pulsed with what humans had learned. "To recognize as wry amusement about as well as your military-industrial complex is handling the idea of incorporating peace research into warship design, change is challenging but necessary. Chen finished the galaxies bigger than either of us imagined. We need each other." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. A holographic display materialized, showing a massive energy. Distortion at the edge of known space pattern. Matches devour quantum signatures. Santa's reported her enhanced. Armor already processing the data, but it's different, more organized, yet more chaotic. At the same time, the synthesis questioned her scientific curiosity. Evident no mayor's voice came through the comm. The science officer had been overseeing the joint research project nearby. These signatures suggest something older and hungrier. Chen and Vanana shared a look 3 months ago. Such a threat would have sent the Meridians fleeing to safety, while humans prepared for war. Now alert the joint fleet. Chen ordered all ships to assume defense. Immersive formation. Delta 7 activate the quantum research arrays. Vanna added full-spectrum analysis throughout the station. Human and Meridian crews moved with practiced deficiency, where once there had been confusion over different protocols and philosophies. Now there was smooth integration. Warrior and researcher, chaos and order working A-zone. You know, Chen nude as they watched their combined fleet move into position. My ancestors used to tell stories about humanity's first steps into space. They always imagined we'd either find enemies to fight or friends to greet. And instead, you found us. Van's antenna twitched with humor, neither enemy nor traditional friend, but something your stories never considered. Partners. Chen nodded, different enough to challenge each other, similar enough to work together. The unknown entity emerged from its quantum distortion, massive and threatening, but this time neither humanity nor Meridians faced it alone, they're combined. Fleet moved as one, each ship complementing the other's strengths and covering their weaknesses. To think, Vanna reflected as they prepared to face this new challenge. All of this started because we tried to sneak a peek at your solar system and we responded by threatening to shoot you. Chen laughed, no tour, finest diplomatic moment. On the contrary, Van's voice carried warm wisdom. It was perfectly human. You showed us exactly who and what you were: protectors, survivors, warriors. And in doing so, you helped us remember something our civilization had forgotten. Oh, that peace isn't just the absence of conflict. Sometimes it must be guarded, studied, and occasionally fought for. As their combined fleet engaged the new threat, the station's quantum sensors captured an image that would soon become famous throughout both civilizations. Human and Meridian ships moving in perfect formation, their different designs and philosophies creating something greater than either could achieve alone. It was more than just an alliance. It was evolution, adaptation, and growth. It was humanity's chaos teaching order how to dance, and Meridian wisdom showing chaos how to flow with purpose together. They were writing a new chapter in the story of the galaxy, proving that The greatest strengths often come not from changing who you are, but from finding those whose differences complete you. The bridge between stars had become a bridge between ways of thinking, and the galaxy would never be the same.